You want to tell them to be quiet?
Hey, be quiet out there. What do we got coming up next, Wayne?
All right, so came up with cleaning out the garage and came up with a
Odd parts.
little bit of an idea. We're going to talk about tools. So we thought we'd talk about some parts that we had lying around the shop that you guys might not normally see.
The guts?
The guts of the cars. So this is a Bosch ABS 5-point something ABS system. And these are very interesting systems. They have two main parts, and you don't normally see this stuff, but we have a control unit, which is a computer in here, and then this computer has a circuit board or some type of board, which then has these coils on it. They look really cheapy and weak and fragile, and they are when they're out here. But this basically mounts onto this part, like this. Hello.
Well, theoretically.
Hello. There we go. And what happens here is that the computer has all the circuitry to analyze the car from all the sensors and all that stuff, and then it powers these valves. There's 12 solenoid valves, solenoid coils here, which then go in here and power these valves on this valve block. And this, other than the motor, you can take the motor off, this is a sealed unit. You cannot get these apart. They're like bolted and then like skewed with the valves, and this is you
Are you making this up? Because nobody really knows how that thing works.
You know, I went on YouTube. I had problems in mine. I'm like, okay, so I went on YouTube and I said, you know what? I'm going to see what they look like on the inside, and there's not a single video of any one of these taken apart. And actually, I cut one apart.
I remember you called me up and you go, hey, you know how that thing works? And I go, nobody knows how that works. Go look at the patents.
Yeah, exactly.
And I still don't know exactly how these work. I don't want to know.
So hold on one second. One second. Hold that thought. Tell a joke or something.
Like this, stretch it. So while we were out on the way over here on the freeway, driving angry, I found some interesting news that this is controversial, but this is what I heard.
I was joking when I said tell a joke.
The number one, well, this isn't a joke. This is true. The number one most dangerous driver is the Tesla driver. The number one most vehicle with a drunk driving is BMW. And I'm trying to think of, well, that's a lot of spread in there. How about the Porsche guys? What about the Corvette guys with their white beards? And what are we trying to get at?
I don't know much about the Corvette guys, but I know the Porsche guys care too much about their cars to drive them drunk.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
I'm just going to park
Porsche guys.
here with a big cover on it. I'm going to take an Uber. Yeah. Everyone spends way too much time on their car.
Yeah.
To smack it.
BMWs
are somewhat replaceable.
Well, it's like a Toyota these days.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, Beamer guys.
So if you have a high-powered magnet, which I think this is, so you can then put this on the end here, and you can't hear it, but you can. What happens is there's a little metal
click.
Yeah, there's a little metal valve that goes up and down in here, and it's like spring-loaded, so it goes back and down. So the coil basically opens and closes these sealed valves because there's brake fluid in here. This is where the brake fluid goes in, and these valves open and close and open and close and open and close.
Does the motor pump hydraulic, like a hydraulic pump to put pressure on it? I've never known. Like I see these, my kid's car's got one with a motor on it too, and I'm going, what the hell is that? And I've seen them without, or they don't look like there's a motor, but I don't want to know how that works because I just want it to work.
I am not an expert on these systems at all, but I know more than 99.9% of everyone in the world.
Well, we now know more, like we violated some sort of rule by cracking open the copyright and trademarked and patented Bosch.
On the car behind you, the 959 has like one of the first types of
I'm sure
system.
It works really well too.
Yeah, it does. Sure. Never tested it in anger. Been on the track, but never tested that. So that has a separate motor, which then has a hydraulic accumulator, which is like a spring for the hydraulic fluid to keep pressure on the system all the time. In fact, you mentioned this car the other day. There's always something new with this car. The other day, we were replacing the wheels on the car, and I forgot to loosen the lug nuts before jacking it up, because I do make occasional dumbass mistakes like that.
Hey,
so I'm
rookie.
like, okay, Steven, who's behind the camera, so can you just step on the brake pedal, and I'll unlock it as he steps. So he steps on the brake pedal, and the brakes spin. I'm like, car's off. I'm like, what? What's going on? I turn the car on, the pump powers up, brakes start working. The rear brakes work fine if he steps on the pedal with the car off. Front brakes didn't. I'm like, oh, that looks like a problem. Turns out it's not a problem. It's designed that way. It's designed that way because the 959 is the most technologically advanced car of its time.
Yeah.
It has recirculating brake fluid throughout the front calipers to prevent overheating. In order to do that, you have to have a constant supply, which is powered by the motor. So when the car is off, the front brakes don't work.
So,
Even says that in the manual. We actually went and had 3 or 4 people check their 959s to see if they worked or didn't work. Turns out a lot of people do take the system out, and then after that, they stop.
let me ask you, so they take out this a technologically advanced system?
Because they don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to fix it. They just take it out and remove it. That's the, you know.
So after
Like
the
if your gallbladder's not working, you know what they do?
they put a new one in?
Yeah,
I don't
take
know.
it out.
I don't know how that stuff
Toss
works.
it away.
Look, I know this, that there's not many cars of any production ilk that have that kind of weird-ass system.
I don't know of any other one.
Circle track cars and dirt track cars recirculate, but it's mechanical. They don't have a failure like, you know, if that one, connector comes off, the car, explodes? It goes into reverse?
No, if
I don't even,
if the
I can't
engine
even.
stops, then the accumulator will hold pressure for a while, and then the front brakes will stop working, but the back brakes will
So
continue to
I'm
work.
doing 160 on the Autobahn, my brakes fail.
No, your engine has to fail first.
Well, what's the chance of that? Because I hit the brakes. I'm doing a 360 down, Stuttgart somewhere. Look, 911 brakes work. The end. The end.
Fair enough. Motor, block. Anyway,
Interesting piece.
yes, it is an interesting
It looks like
piece.
it costs a lot too, just the machining and all the weird electronic.
It does, but you can
Saves
find
a
these
life.
on eBay. They made so many of these that you can buy them for like next to nothing.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece. I'd love to see like like in those old videos they show how like an automatic transmission works.
Yes.
I would love to see the cutaway from Bosch how this crazy piece of technology
I
works.
think I cut one, but hold on a second. I got lots of these
Wayne
over
with a
here.
hacksaw in his garage at 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
No bandsaw, hacksaw. Good stuff. So we have drunk BMW drivers, crashing Tesla drivers.
You have dead air, right?
I'm trying to think of what other. It was an interesting story about the people that drive certain type of cars, and 100% factual because it was on the radio or something.
I will, I'll cut one of these open one of these days. But yeah, they all look the same. So this one's a 12 valve system. This one's a 4 valve. Don't know why. Yeah. So, but they're all kind of the same.
What led you down the path to start buying used ABS systems?
Well, we talked about this in the Ferrari.
Oh, for the
video.
Ferrari, that's right. When
Yes.
when it got all
The
gunked.
so far unreleased Ferrari. Oh, maybe it's released by this point.
Yeah, who'd have the forethought to know when things are released here?
Yeah, you can check out that video. It's kind of down
Yeah,
here.
click subscribe and like, and you'll get it.
Yeah, can you, if we point to the videos down there, does that
just
work? or-
somewhere, I don't know. I don't know how that works, and I don't know if people listen to you because we're telling people what to do. I would suggest hey, if you like it, subscribe. Not look, subscribe, because I don't like those guys because they're telling me what to do. I don't like people telling me what to do.
That's true.
So if you want to, hey, it's up to you.
Right. If you don't like it, you can unsubscribe.
That's right.
Is there an unsubscribe button?
I think if you click it again, it toggles. It's like, if you click the like button and then you get to the end and you go, oh, no, I didn't really like that because you did a premature like. You can do a premature unlike.
Premature.
Or a post unlike. Some people just click like because you tell them. We don't. If you don't like it, don't click the button. How's that?
All right. So, overview of ABS. Maybe we'll go back and revisit this in the future when we cut one of these open. We'll be the only people on YouTube with a cut open.
We're way farther ahead by having this thing taken apart. It's amazing the machine work that they do on these.
It is. There's one guy who did like a grinder to it, and the thing just exploded all over the place or whatever. But I'd like to maybe get one of those saws that.
I got a small bandsaw. We could cut this.
Yeah. Well, big bandsaw.
Yeah, I cut this right down the middle.
Yeah.
All right,
Got little valves on the side. Yeah, that's cool. All right.
All right, we'll get to it. So interesting stuff. ABS from Bosch. We got a lot of Bosch stuff rolling through here, oddly. I'm not sure that's because you have a bunch of German cars, which is Bosch does a lot of innovative engineering.
All right, so continuing our segment on weird and unusual parts. I mentioned this briefly, I think, when we talked about the Ferrari 360, but it's so interesting to talk about even again.
It's an interesting piece.
Because we have nothing better to do but talk about things more than once, right? But it happens to be sitting here still, and I want to spend a little more time on it because I think it probably got cut. The Ferrari 360 has, and other Ferraris too, they have what's called a transmission heat exchanger, and that's what I have in my hand here. And what it does is when the engine is cold, it heats up the transmission quickly, and when the transmission gets hot, it cools it down. So it has dual purpose there. On the Porsche 911s and stuff like that, we have an air-cooled motor attached to the transmission. It takes maybe 45 minutes to warm up the transmission, which is usually not a problem. But if you're performance driving, you want your equipment warmed up and the transmission operating at its ideal temperature, especially for the fluids. So this is an interesting device that gets the transmission up to proper temperature and maintains the temperature. What it's got is it sends the coolant. I have to get this right because the ones are going to yell at me in the comments. It sends the coolant through here, and these are open, hollow pipes that go through here. It looks like the inside. It looks like the inside of a nuclear reactor.
Like a catalytic converter looking thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how they make these. These are. I mean, they must put this in here and then swell.
They do like they make the
solder or something.
A furnace sprays like a radiator or something.
It's crazy. I don't know how.
Well, it's also crazy that it would fail, but it did.
Well, yeah, that's why it's in my hand. I forget how much these are. They're not cheap.
Well,
but they're actually not like $10,000. I think they're like
more than 500.
More than 500, and I think they're less than 1,500. So they're in that range.
Yikes.
I don't remember, but it's a very complicated part. See, some Ferrari parts are made of plastic, and they're like nothing, and they cost like $1,000. And they just think, you're like, that's not worth it.
At
least when you buy this,
bronze
you're
done.
like, yeah, you buy this, you're like, wow, okay, that's freaking complicated. All right, I can see why this would cost some money. So transmission fluid goes in here and out here, or in here and out here. I forget. I don't think it really matters. Actually, the part is leaking.
Hey, that's
the part is like now it's in my grill.
That's Ferrari oil.
Ferrari, make oil and coolant mixed together. So what happens is that this part fails, and your coolant and your oil then mix together. And it's really, really bad.
Is that a common fail point? Or
yeah, it is, and it smells bad, especially after a 20-year-old car when you don't have when the previous owners don't really maintain the coolant correctly. It just kind of corrodes this part, and you get one little tiny little. You can see like
pinhole.
You look down there. There's something going on.
Yeah.
In this thing, so it fails and mixes it all together. But we talked about that in the Ferrari video. And I won't go into how much of a pain it is to fix that, but I wanted to get some close-up shots more of this one and just show how unique and interesting this particular part. I don't know of any other car that has one of these. Well,
I know Merc Cruisers have something like that. My friend calls me up and says,
"Hey,
yeah,
okay."
It has like a twin with 454s in it, and the thing's leaking water out of the oil cooler. I go, "What do you mean oil cooler?" Yeah. And so we pull the thing apart. Yeah. And it's a real similar part to this, except it has a little smaller ends. But it's the same idea. It runs engine oil through, the guts of it, and then coolant to keep the engine oil at temperature. And the salt water just, eventually eats them up. So it was a real similar thing, just had a little different fittings on it, but same idea.
Yeah.
And his thing was only like aftermarket, not Merc Cruiser was like about $500, I think. And I think he bought replacements for I think they're about $200 or less. But same kind of idea, all brass.
Yeah. So I keep this on my wall of fame or wall of shame, depending on how you look at it, in terms of interesting parts to show people.
Yeah,
I used to put it in a box.
It looks like
but I had to get the box so often that I just kind of leave it out now.
It looks really well made too. That's why it's odd. It would fail, especially.
That's 20 years old.
Yeah, I guess if they didn't maintain their coolant. People, maintain your coolant.
I mean, we
There
can
you
get
go.
a shot of this later, but there's something going on right on that little tube right there.
Yeah. A little that,
I guess
you
the
know.
bargain Ferrari guys would repair it.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah,
Or
they run-
plug these if they're leaking, or
Solder it
you
up.
pressure test it or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Or
I just
just
bought
run some KW block sealer through there and sell the car.
Exactly. All right.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe somewhere down here, and don't forget to smash that like button. Thank you.